U.S. President Joe Biden has approved an aid deal worth $95 billion, £76 billion, for Taiwan, Israel, and the Ukraine. After the bill was signed into law, he declared, "It's going to make America safer, it's going to make the world safer." In order to support Kyiv in rebuffing Russian advances, the president declared that the U.S. would, right away, provide more arms and equipment to the country. After months of congressional impasse, he spoke the day after the aid package was approved by the U.S. Senate. As Russia continues to advance in its invasion, Ukraine has recently increased its requests for help from the West. $61 billion in military assistance for Ukraine is part of the plan. The Senate approved it by a bipartisan vote of 79 to 18. The U.S. House of Representatives approved the legislation on Saturday, and Tuesday night it was approved. After more than 6 months of hard work and many twists and turns in the road, America sends a message to the entire world: "We will not turn our back on you," stated Democratic Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer. Volodymyr Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, responded to the vote by saying it reinforces America's role as a beacon of democracy and leader of the free world. A similar aid plan was approved by the Senate in February, but it was not put to a vote in the House of Representatives due to opposition from conservatives on fresh funding for Ukraine. Republicans and Democrats in the lower house banded together last week to get around this opposition. In the end, they settled on a package bill that contained the foreign aid, fresh penalties against China, Iran, and Russia, legislation to seize Russian assets held by Western institutions, and a clause requiring the Chinese business ByteDance to sell the well-known social media platform TikTok. A majority of Republicans in the House voted against the foreign aid bill on Saturday. A few Senate Republicans who opposed any further help to Ukraine also opposed the bill. 15 voted against the bill, joined by 2 Democrats and Independent Senator Bernie Sanders, who opposed giving Israel more offensive weapons. More funding for Ukraine's budget will only exacerbate the crisis and result in more casualties, stated Republican Senator Tommy Tuberville on Tuesday. No one at the White House, the Pentagon, or the State Department can articulate what victory looks like in this fight. The aid package is anticipated to provide Ukraine's troops a major boost. In recent months, they have been beset by a lack of air defense equipment and ammunition. Tuesday saw the most current in a string of drone and missile strikes over Kharkiv, the second largest city in Ukraine. According to authorities, 2 persons were hurt in a residential zone. Oleksandr Pivnenko, the commander of Ukraine's National Guard, stated he anticipated a Russian military attempt to attack the city, which is close to the Russian border. The U.S. provided Ukraine with more than $40 billion in military aid between February 2022 and January 2024, according to German research group Kiel Institute. Assistance to Taiwan and Israel. The foreign aid package that was approved on Tuesday includes $17 billion for Israel and $9 billion for the benefit of civilians suffering in conflict areas worldwide, including Gaza's Palestinian population. 2. Counter-communist China. An additional $8 billion has been set aside for friends in the Asia-Pacific region, including Taiwan. In response to the vote, Israeli Foreign Minister Israel Katz expressed gratitude to the leaders of Congress for the unwavering commitment to Israel's security. Israel and the United States stand together in the fight against terrorism, defending democracy and our shared values, he stated. Israel already receives $3.8 billion in military aid annually from the U.S. A spokesman for the Chinese government described the military assistance for Taiwan as a serious violation of the One China principle that would send the wrong signal to the pro-independence separatist forces in Taiwan. This was happening over in Asia. We urge the U.S. to take practical actions to fulfill its commitment not to support Taiwan independence by not arming Taiwan in any way, she stated. Strengthen deterrence against authoritarianism is how newly elected president of Taiwan, William Lai, put it in his remarks. Although Beijing sees Taiwan as a province that broke away from China and wants to regain authority over it, Taiwan is an independent island that runs its own affairs. TikTok ban. A clause in the national security package may also result in a statewide ban of TikTok. TikTok's parent firm, based in China, has 9 months to find a US-approved buyer and sell its ownership in the popular social media app, failing which it will shut down nationwide. According to the statute, the US president may choose to extend the deadline by an extra 90 days, meaning that the ban might go into effect as late as almost a year from now. with senators arguing that the Chinese government may use security regulations to compel ByteDance to give over data about the app's estimated 170 million US users. The TikTok provision garnered bipartisan backing. TikTok has stated on multiple occasions that it has not given the Chinese government access to its overseas user data and never will. What became of the funds for the border? A separate vote on a border security package featuring conservative goals was held in the House of Representatives on Saturday. However, the bill failed to achieve the required two-thirds majority to get past a procedural obstacle. Sen. Ted Cruz of Texas and Senator Marco Rubio of Florida were among the Republicans who voted against the Ukraine aid bill in the Senate because it did not contain additional funds for U.S. border security. Although Mr. Cruz said the U.S. needs to handle the immigration issue first, he called it one of the hardest votes of his congressional career. "I can't continue to allocate funds to secure Ukraine's border before we secure our own," Cruz stated. A bipartisan group of senators from both parties put out a foreign aid package in February that contained major changes to immigration law as well as increased funds. But when former President Donald Trump and his legislative allies declared that the improvements were insufficient, that endeavor came to an end.